And we are coming to you live from the Potawatomi Hotel and Casino in beautiful Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And man, are they treating us well. Today is the ESPN Wisconsin Fantasy Football Draft, and I'm sure the damn sports show fan base is on its way on I-94 right now. We already know Wayne Freund, one of our 11 other members outside of you and me. I guess it's 10. We both have our own team now. He stopped at the George Webb Burger.
He made sure that he was like, hey, if I'm going up to see the fellas, I'm getting my free burger ahead of time. I know that he's been up here several times. Got to see his son, FedEx Jeff Freund, out there actually playing at AMPM here a few weeks ago for the Legion All-Star game. So we're excited to get him back out here. Corey, I tell you what, this might be my last ever show with you because I think they're going to have to literally wrestle me out of this room.
Yeah, this is it.
He's all over. We have sports on right behind the beautiful Potawatomi Sportsbook signs behind us. There's a giant wall of televisions, so you are going to be able to watch sports literally until your heart is content. And I don't think it could be here. I might literally move in.
So we walk in, we go through the elevator. It's our first time here, right? So we're trying to find out where to go and everything. And then huge shout out to they're in the room with us right now, Jake and Haley. They guide us up back into the elevator. You and I were kind of getting nightmares like, oh, we were already lost in this building before. Up into this beautiful studio. If you're watching on Daily Dodge TV right now, you can get an idea of it. If you're not, tune in over there. We're also coming to you live on 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam. And of course, the new customizable ESPN Wisconsin app. The show today looks like this, or sounds like this. Jason Wilde joins us in just a few moments. If the Cubs win tonight, do you grow a little worried about what a playoffs matchup with them, specifically a 5-gamer and maybe the NLDS, could look like? More on that to come. For our prep football block, we have some audio from Marshall head coach Matt Kleinheinz, who we will be talking to tomorrow for their opener against Johnson Creek at home. And Tom Chase from Randolph, audio from both of those football head coaches coming up in the third block. And we wrap up today's program with friends of the program. I thought we were going to do fill in the damn blank. I'm impressed with you. We've had a crazy morning, so I was like, you know what? We'll just flip the Tuesday segment over to the Wednesday segment so you didn't have to pull a ton of audio. But you did.
We went 2-minute offense before we headed over to Milwaukee. It was the NASCAR. Get on the ball. So I got that out real quick, got right on the highway, and here we are now. But we do have friends of the program. Going to be hearing a little Badgers, and of course, we got to be talking Brewers. They are the talk of the state of Wisconsin, and for very good reason.
100%. And we are now going to welcome on the 3-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year, Jason Wilde. You can hear him live on Wilde and Tausch weekdays from 9 to noon across ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin. Ooh, I think we just lost him. We're
I heard the
him
beats
back.
coming.
We got the dial tone. So Aiden's going to dial that back up and try and get Jason on the phone. But yeah, this is unbelievable, and I'm really excited for this draft because we're coming up on 1 year for this show, and that'll be on September 16th. I remember hearing about the draft, the festivities. Nick Dodens, who's in our Beaver Dam office now, he's been amazing. He was boots on the ground here last year, but we're actually going to get to see first-person perspective what this looks like.
Well, it's about time. I'm pretty fired up. We're going to have, again, the great Jason Wilde out here. I got to ask him if he wants another bear hug, if his ribs are recovered enough for that, or if I got to go with the gentleman handshake here when I see him again. Because otherwise, I might just be passing out Wally hugs all night. It's going to be a lot of fun down there. Corey, you got to be careful. You might be getting one yourself.
Yeah, I know Jason makes that joke every time from when you saw him at the draft. Really excited for that. That's going to be happening at 6 p.m. A lot of our fans are going to be there just to be able to meet them in person. I know we had a lot of chances to mingle with them throughout the prep sports season, specifically baseball, and then in the Legion, we got close with a lot of them. Wayne Freund, man, I think he's someone who's going to accept that big bear hug from you.
Father FedEx, man, he better be ready for it. I know I'm ready to go up there wearing my punting is winning shirt to Oshkosh and River Falls here in just about a month and a half. Got to respect the hometown boys if you can.
What are you going to be doing here between the show's going to end at 5 today. The draft starts at 6. We'll probably truck our equipment back to the vehicle just to make sure everything goes smooth later. But we're going to have a little time on the way back. Are you putting any bets down?
I'm unfortunately going to. Haley immediately when we came up here is like, we got these kiosks that are very friendly for you.
Perfect.
And if I could figure out a kiosk, I'm going to be in trouble. So I almost need to have like a parental guardian to keep up with Wally. The Raiders aren't going to win the Super Bowl this year. You're throwing your money away.
I don't want to put your business out there, but don't give me a number, but are you at least going to give yourself a limit? I feel like it's always wise advice to walk into a casino and know, hey, if everything goes haywire, we stop at this value. Do you do that?
Yeah, well, you have to walk in with like, this is the number today.
Because you've been to Vegas.
Yes.
Multiple times?
Oh, yeah. That's basically second
So
home.
you're an expert.
Might be a mayor there before the end of the year if we keep going the way we want to. And so this is my world. Like, you talk about like the day that you get married and like everybody's doing these like Let's go on a 15-day bachelor party. Let's travel all over the world. Let's make it the most expensive thing available. But no, when I'm getting married, my bachelor party is going to consist of an evening at a sports book, maybe go to a game, and I'll see you guys at the wedding. I don't need a month to go see you guys. I'm done. I don't need it.
Do
I
you have
don't
a
need it.
favorite strategy? Like, are you? I'm gonna put together a 6 leg parlay guy. Are you going props? Are you going money line? Are you going futures? What's the favorite?
Smart men, smarter people than me, don't go the parlay route. I like to do a little bit of both. I
Those are
find my
fun.
favorite bets of the day. I bet them individually, but then you got to parlay them too. Because what if your boy gets hot for a day? I might be retiring.
That's a good point. And I think we do have Jason Wilde on the line now. Again, he is the 3-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year. Here live on Wilde and Tausch weekdays from 9 to noon across ESPN Wisconsin, the ESPN Wisconsin app. Jason, trial number 2. Do we hear you? Do you hear us? There we go. Yeah, shout out Aiden for figuring that out so quickly. I think I've seen that video, and that is absolutely hilarious. You have full permission to Devonte Adams us. That's completely fine with us here.
I completely agree. You got to torture us a little, and I got to torture you too, Jason. I was just talking to Corey. The last time I saw you, I gave you
Oh, the hug is coming.
a rib cracking hug. Is that on the table today, or do I have to go up with just a handshake now? If I overstayed my hug welcome? Hmm. I can meet you in the middle with a bro hug. I can do that. We can make that happen. Thank you, Jason.
Perfect. Jason, with Jordan Love returning to practice earlier this week after getting a procedure done on that left thumb, put simply, how has he looked early on to you? Cooking fools. Okay. Mm.
Ugh.
Hmm.
Well, that's exciting to hear. So it sounds like Saturday, from that point on, we're going to start seeing that Jordan Love back in the offense. I imagine then next week, when you have all these like gearing up for the season, higher speed practices, it's going to be full on 100%. He's ready to go, ready to start when we get back to the regular season. Mm. Well, continuing to look at the quarterback position besides Jordan Love, Taylor Elgersma got an extended look. He led several touchdown drives, a field goal drive as well in their matchup with the Colts. Seemingly, Malik Willis, his job's going to be safe in that backup role. But with the way Elgersma looked, is Sean Clifford about to be looking for a job?
His voice has been hoarse lately,
I,
Jason. I think it's worn out. Like we did the Dodge County Fair over the course of last weekend, so
I'm in
music
pain.
is loud. He's Wally's volume is already louder than most, but then he's yelling. I think the voice is just hoarse.
It's officially, usually you have the weekend. Yeah, exactly. Well, you have to have the right winner.
That's a good point.
I wanted to make some friendly wagers with my teammates here at Good Karma Brands. That makes sense to me that you have to, but usually I'm all outwardly excited. I'm loud during the week, Jason, and then the weekend to kind of rest the vocal cords. This week was the opposite. I had to keep shouting, and I feel like I've just officially lost that battle. The vocal cords are done. They're shot. It's over.
There we go.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There we go. So I'm assuming Taylor Elgersma will not be on your fantasy football board tonight, Jason. But can we get a little bit of insight into what your strategy usually looks like? I don't want to have you show your whole hand, but what is a Jason Wilde drafting tendency that we might have to be on the lookout for? Oh, he's the representative. Okay,
So are you just like sitting in that like president seat and you're just saying, "Hey, you're my goodie, Jesse"?
go. Mm. Oh, there you go.
Ever heard of him? No way. So that was the 300-yard game or like the 290, whatever it was from Jamal Lewis.
But you're a champion. I feel like you got to take the bigger body of work than just the one off week. We all have off weeks, Jason. Oh, jeez.
I'll be looking for that
Keep an eye out
tomorrow.
for the Easter egg, Jason. We're looking forward to seeing you in probably about an hour and a half here once we scamper on downstairs again. But thank you so much for the time as always. We're looking forward to the draft tonight. Here we go.
I'm gonna do my best for you. I'm gonna do my best for you.
All right, that is the three-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year, Jason Wilde. Again, you can hear him live on Wilde and Tausch weekdays from 9 a.m. until noon across ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app. When we return, we'll shift to baseball. If the Cubs were to win tonight, they would win the five-game series. They would win the season series. Do you grow scared of them come playoff time? We'll take a look at what that playoff picture could look like as well with 30-something odd games to go. This is the Damn Sports Show on 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam, Daily Dodge TV, and the ESPN Wisconsin app. Good stuff. If you are looking for a one-stop shop for all things sports cards, make sure you head over to our friends at Real Sports Cards in Waupun, or you can check out their app, whether you're into sports cards, Pokemon cards, or anything in between. Real Sports Cards has you covered. They've got live break streaming right on the app. You can grab those individual cards on the go, be a part of a group, and watch for your favorite players and teams as the packs get opened in real time. Go to the Apple or Google Play Store today, look for the orange logo, and take your collection to the next level with Real Sports Cards. They are your local resource for all things sports cards, Pokemon cards, and more. You are listening to the Damn Sports Show on 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam, Daily Dodge TV, and the ESPN Wisconsin app. We are live from a beautiful studio at the beautiful Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Corey Sparks and Wally Lukashinsky on site here for you. Aiden Voigt still fighting some battles back at the station. I will give a little context before we jump into Cubs and Brewers. Big storm rolled through Dodge County, specifically Beaver Dam, about 2-3 p.m. on Saturday. And we got an interesting perspective of it because we were at the Dodge County Fair at the WDS construction stage presented to you by our friends at Newman Pools. And thank goodness for that stage because it served pretty well. We were taking cover under it.
We saw the witch from Wizard of Oz flying around us.
It got dark. Power started flickering. It was pretty sinister out there for a bit. But then looking back over at the station, luckily we had Jeff Hall back there. We had Cale Zomer back there. Power goes out there, off the air. So they're fighting those battles, and we're slowly realizing throughout this week as we try and add different elements to this show, have callers on like Jason Wilde, the wonderful Jason Wilde, that things are still waking up.
It's been kind of like a disaster scavenger hunt.
Yeah.
Every single time you're like, all right, cool, we're going to start calling Jason again. We can't hear him.
We're finding little Easter eggs. We had something with Gabe on Monday, and we used Microsoft Teams, and we're like, okay, that'll work. Today, we're like, it's been a couple days. Everything seems to be firing on all cylinders. We'll try this with Jason. No, the phone line is not ready to wake up yet.
That's okay. Yesterday.
Whenever you're ready.
We're going into our high school sports season, and you're like, hey, we got a preview interview. We got Coach on the line, except we don't. So now we're running around. You're recording in Wade's office.
Yeah.
Then I'm running into another studio. We're recording ads all over the building. So huge shout out to Aiden for putting up with this, helping us get back on track. It's preseason for us too. That's the way I'm going to say it.
Exactly.
So we're going to be fine. We're back up and going and fired up now. Talking about the Brewers, talking about the Cubs. And all of a sudden, after yesterday, a sweep of a doubleheader for the Chicago Cubs.
That was my bingo card.
I wasn't on a lot of ours, and you start looking around, and all of a sudden, winning one of these last two games feels a little bit more important for the crew.
Yeah, the Cubs had their pseudo-ace, and I say pseudo-ace because it was supposed to be Shota Imanaga coming into the season, and it has at times, but wire to wire, it's been Matthew Boyd. He's really taken over that spot. Again, I emphasize the pseudo because he's a 30-something-year-old who's having a career year right now. Typically, you see guys peak in their mid to high 20s. They earn that second, third contract. This is one of those like Geno Smith years where you just go, where did this come from?
Yep.
So I thought the Cubs would have a decent chance at evening the score out at 1-1 in this 5-game series. They did that. It was close. It was a nail biter. The tying run was on base, ended up being a 6-4 victory. The second end of the doubleheader, peace and love to Jamison Tidon. I did not think they were going to pull that one out. I did not expect him to give up one run over 6 innings.
No, especially given the fact that every time in the last 2 months we've seen the Brewers take a haymaker, they've come back and they've delivered three more.
Right.
Twice as hard. So to go out there when you know that Brewers team understands the importance of this series. Yes, entering yesterday, you were up 9 games. A lot of people are saying it's over. You cannot, in a major league clubhouse, have that seeped in to like the thought process. And this is where, for me, in the weirdest of ways, I'm actually really happy that this is happening right now for the Brewers. I didn't like the fact that, yes, it's awesome when you're winning all these games. No one wants to lose. It makes sense. Nobody thought it was going to end. But then you'll occasionally, you see these teams and you get to a postseason, and what happens? All of a sudden, the lights are bright again. Everybody's playing from an even playing field now. And then you kind of get that collar gets a little tight.
Yeah.
Throat starts constricting a little bit. I like that they lost this now. And I'm almost interested to see how they do respond now in the next 2 days. With a Cubs team, do you imagine they got to start thinking there's a life here, even if it's just to move up in the wild card picture. This is an important series for them as well. And I know that that's a very proud team over there in Chicago, too. So you're going to get a couple big swings over the next 24 hours, and you got to at least split.
I think it has been already, and it will be tonight and tomorrow. Tonight is a 7:05 first pitch. Tomorrow is your 1:20 start for Game 5 of 5. It's kind of a playoff-like atmosphere over at Wrigley Field. These two teams are likely going to be playing into October. aspirations for late October, early phases of November. The Brewers are going for that first World Series trophy, essentially, right? They want to win the entire thing, and they still have a chance, even though it's been a little rough the last couple of days, thanks in part to the 14-game winning streak, the 11-game win streak before that. On August 20th, they have a chance to win their 80th game. One more, and they guarantee themselves a 500 or better record to just 47 losses. So the question I want to pose here, your way into the show, is 920-887-9595. The phone lines are working like a well-oiled machine, according to Aiden Voigt now, so we are going to open them up for you. That is also our text line. Our talking text line is 920-887-9595. If Colin Ray and the Cubs beat Jacob Misiorowski and the Brewers tonight, the deficit would be down to 6 games, or the lead for the Brewers. The Cubs would have already taken the 5-game series at that point. It'd be 3-1 with 1 to go. They would have taken the season series. Would a Cubs win tonight make you scared at all of Chicago come postseason time?
I got to be careful about how I say this because I do not want the Brewers to play the Chicago Cubs in the postseason. I am not afraid of them, however. It's just the psychological side of sports is always fascinating to me because when you get two rivals like this, where one of them and the Brewers is having the best regular season in the history of their entire program, 100 or close to 70 years or whatever.
Yeah, 100 to 105 wins is still very much in play.
Very much in play. There's a chance you're talking about a team that started the year 25-28 with 100+ wins. That is unheard of. That does not happen in baseball. But to have your rival come in where all of a sudden it's this, they have nothing to lose. You are the big dog, which has really never happened between the Cubs and the Brewers. When these teams are playing in the postseason or in the run for that, the Cubs are big brother. Mm-hmm. And now the Brewers are kind of the ones that are actually taking that big X on the back from the Chicago Cubs. So I like that they're struggling in this series in a weird way because I think that it is going to refocus the team, but I don't want to see the Cubs. I think that's just, it's a recipe for disaster. I'd prefer to play the Phillies. I'd prefer to play the Reds, prefer to play the Mets, whoever comes out. Just, I don't need to see Chicago again. I'm done.
So Chicago right now would be the 4 seed. Milwaukee would be the 1 seed. And I know we've had all these jumblings happen in the last handful of years. Been pretty consistent the last couple of years. The 1 and 2 seed get a bye to the NLDS in this end of the bracket. 1 will play the winner of 4 and 5. 2 will play the winner of 3 and 6. As things stand right now, the Brewers are the 1 seed. The Cubs are the 4. If they were to win that 4-5 matchup, the hypothetical we're talking about right now becomes reality pretty soon. I'm not scared of the Cubs come postseason time per se, especially if this were a 5-game series. Wild card round, I'd be scared of anyone. We saw in the Mets series, I think the Brewers were the better team until the last inning and some change of that series. But a longer, drawn-out series where pitching depth really comes into play. We've said it on this show time and time again the last handful of weeks. The Brewers have 2 full rotations, if you include the guys whose full-time jobs are in Nashville right now in AAA. They're starting on other teams. That's how deep this Brewers team is in a pitching capacity. A longer, drawn-out series where pitching depth actually comes into play, I would say give me the Brewers over the Cubs 8 days out of 7. Got the second most runs in baseball, top 5 in at least runs allowed, among the best in stolen bases. They play small ball really well. Runners in scoring position, they're great there. And at this point, Wally, this is a large enough sample size, and we're 120-something odd games into the season. It's a large enough sample size to be able to make statements like this. The Brewers should not be scared of anyone.
No, they shouldn't be scared of anybody. It's more of the scared of the, falling short once again.
Yeah.
From an actual team perspective, and you worry that
picture. Right.
the culture is almost, once you get there, that there might be a little tense up. I'm interested tonight, specifically tonight, with The Miz. This is going to be his last opportunity to face the Cubs before they end up playing in the postseason. If they do, if he goes out there and he throws you another 80 pitches and 3 1/3, he gives up 4 runs. Where's that level of confidence when October is rolling around here in just about 50 days when you know that you are going to be facing this same lineup? Do you worry about that? Even going back to the Paul Skeens starts we talked about, we're worried about, is this going to trickle into the postseason? This is where you want to have a good start so that confidence is high when the lights are bright. If he goes out there and he gets rocked tonight, where do you feel at when you start going into that series in October?
I think it's something that we knew about. Like in his scouting report, everyone knew he had an electric fastball, the 96-mile-per-hour slider that he threw against Willie Castro, who is a Cub now, so he might be running into him today, if not in the playoffs as well. He was the Twins player at the time who basically took a knee to that slider that Miz threw right at his belt buckle. I think there's value in that. We know his stuff is nasty, but we also knew coming into it, lack of command was an issue, and that's the reason he's losing batters. He's walking a couple of runners or he's walking a couple of batters in innings work, and that's where you get those 85 pitch, 3 2/3 thirds of an inning outings. I wonder more or less. I think his stuff is electric enough. You're going to see it in the playoffs, and you're going to see it in an opening capacity. But is it more of an opener type feel? Not that he throws one inning and then the bullpen comes in after.
But it is almost a bullpen start. You say, give me 4 innings.
Yeah, does Pat Murphy have to, when we go into the playoffs here, have a bridge guy linked to Jacob Mizorowski every time he starts? Does he have to go, all right, Chad Patrick, you're on the expanded roster. I need 2 to 3 innings out of you today because I can't expect Mizorowski to get through more than 4 or 5.
I kind of like that. It's an interesting idea, too, to almost have
it does restrict you, but that's what expanded rosters are for, right?
It does. And then it's like best case scenario, Miz goes out there and gets you 6 strong. Then you can actually save that arm in Chad Patrick if he needs to go out there and eat innings, whether it be a blowout you're on the right or wrong side of. I'm putting you on the spot right now, though, with 2 games left. We went around the office yesterday asking everybody how many of these games are the Brewers going to win in this series. And it was pretty resounding. 4s. I think there was only a couple 3s in there.
Yeah, I was, ironically enough, I think I was the least
cynical.
Yeah.
Or you were the most cynical, I guess you would say.
I guess so, right? And I still have a ton of confidence in this team, but I think the most Cubs favorable picks that we had were still the Brewers take 3 out of 5. Yeah.
Where are we at now? 2 games left. Is this all right? Brewers just going to split? You think that's you're resigned to that? You're happy with that, or is this still hey? I mean, they're capable of winning both these games.
I think they split the rest of the way, but I did say going into this series, like what the question that we had before was, what do the Brewers have to do to lock this series up? I think they only had to win 2 because then after that exhausting 5-game series, your last big hurrah, your last shot at it against the division rivals from Milwaukee for Chicago, you only gained 1 game on them. I think that's more of a psychological defeat than anything else. Like, we had a chance to really dig into this deficit, and when all is said and done, it's still only going to be where it is now, a 7-game deficit. All they need to do is take 1 of 2. They are more than capable of taking the next 2.
You're right, and I think that they do get the win tomorrow. I need to see it. I feel like I'm starting to turn into. I don't want it to be like I'm a Miz doubter, but I need to see.
That's a tough place to be.
It is, but I need to see him back to what we saw in his first 3 starts. Batters adjust in Major League Baseball, and what we've seen over the last 4 or 5 outings from him, injury or not, has not been what I think people started billing every Miz start to be.
We've seen the highs and we've seen the lows.
We have, but the lows have been pretty low too. And when you get into the postseason, you can't afford to have somebody go out there, get you 5 outs, and allow 6 or 7 runs.
Well, first pitch for Game 4 of 5 will be at 7:05 p.m. tonight. That is on your home of the Brewers in Beaver Dam, 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge. When we return, prep football segment, kind of a quick one. We have audio from Marshall head coach Matt Kleinheim and Randolph head coach Tom Chase. We preview the high school football season, which starts tomorrow with them next here on 1430 ESPN and Daily Dodge TV. We welcome you back to the Damn Sports Show on 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam, Daily Dodge TV, and ESPN Wisconsin app. We are here live with you at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Corey Sparks and Wally Lukashinsky on site. And we're going to go as fast as we can while still doing these teams justice. Because, of course, with me and the show clock, we're a little behind
It
here.
ain't just you. It ain't just you.
That's all right. But Wally and I have had the opportunity the last about 2 to 3 weeks to talk to as many area coaches as we possibly could find. Anybody we could get on the phone, specifically the ones that will be covering their teams on Daily Dodge TV 1430 ESPN over the course of the next 9 weeks, starting this week. And two of those coaches were Matt Kleinheinz for Marshall, covered a handful of their games last year, and Tom Chase for Randolph, typically covering them from afar. Occasionally you'll catch a game on our broadcast schedule, but we have a great relationship with Mr. Chase, and his team consistently gives us something positive to talk about. They're always contending in the top third of their conference. So got some audio from both coaches just to get some insight. We will start with Marshall, who opens up their season against Johnson Creek tomorrow. It is a rematch of last year's season opener. I sat down with head coach Matt Kleinheinz earlier this week. Here's what he had to say as he reflected on last year and looked ahead to this upcoming fall. I love that from Coach Kleinheinz. So we have the running joke with him. He is very much in on it. That team did not win a ball game when we were in attendance, and they won a lot when we weren't.
Yeah, it feels like it's on us somehow.
But part of that is, and part of the reason I threw that in here today, not just to kind of exterminate the bit that we've had, but the start of their schedule, the strength of their schedule in non-conference play and even leading into conference play, they went Johnson Creek, ended up being a level 3 playoff team. Lake Mills, who lost by one possession, and he just said it, had Racine St. Cat's beat. Full circle there. You and I were covering that state championship game. That team rose the gold ball at Camp Randall and is bringing back a lot of talent. And the other team in their first 3 weeks was Partyville, who hung out among the top teams in their conference the entire season. They did bow out early on into the playoffs, but they were terrorizing their conference opponents. That was 1, 2, and 3 for Marshall last year. So it wasn't just us. But he was saying, in general, they're in a similar spot this year, Marshall, is they don't return a ton of their varsity unit. But once again, I think it helps a lot to return your veteran signal caller. Brady Kleinheinz, who has been working a lot in his junior year, being more of a verbal leader, is coming back for his senior year. He's calling the shots. Coach was telling me he's super wise, and of those 7 picks he threw last year, he says, yeah, statistically, a lot of people would look at him and say he took a step back from sophomore year to junior year. He said he just took more chances because he had to. I mean, you go up against a gauntlet like this, you have to throw down the field, even if it's one-on-one, and you have to trust your guy, and sometimes your guy loses the battle.
Yeah, stats are liars sometimes, and we saw that a couple times last year. When you're trailing by a few scores, you got to be willing to take a few gambles later on. So it did inflate that interception number for him a little bit. But it's going to be wild to watch and try to figure out where they're going to find a lot of this production from, whether it be the running backs. Of the people returning to his team, Brady Kleinheinz led this team in rushing.
He did.
And he had 164 yards. It's not like we're talking about a guy that went out there and he was just a dual threat quarterback. He had about half of those in this matchup with Johnson Creek to start the year. So they're going to lean on him to really be a leader and find those people open, whether it be trusting his legs a little bit more this year. Having Brady's going to be a huge thing in that locker room. Very excited to see how he looks.
Yeah, maybe a little more wing T here or there. We'll kind of see what they do formation-wise. But Brady Kleinheinz is going to be running the ball a lot more in a designed fashion than maybe the scramble drill that we saw last year when the offensive line was still getting its bearings. Max Temple's the gaping hole in this backfield here. He's already in training camp for UW Whitewater, one of the best, you could argue, the best D3 football program in the country. So the coach was also telling me before we move on to Randolph, Max is a pie. You cannot replace him with one person on this roster right now. Everybody has to take chunks of his game.
The money ball.
Exactly.
In aggregate, we're
Yes.
going to create Max.
You need the pass catching upside somewhere out of the backfield. You need your ground and pound. You need someone who could put their shoulder down and get through that first and second level just through brute physicality. And you need your finesse guys, someone who's going to run number to number. And it's patchwork right now because it is training camp and they haven't even started the season yet. But coach feels very well about the team that he has in front of him and how they're going to be able to tackle, again, a gauntlet to start the season the second time around. Randolph football opens their season this week as well. Wally sat down and talked to Coach Tom Chase, and here's what he had to say.
Ben Paul, Ben Paul, Ben Paul. You're going to hear that name an awful lot this year because not only did this guy started last year as a running back, they moved him to quarterback. When I asked Coach why, what do you have to tell me? But we had to find a way to get the ball in his hands even more. And that's how special an athlete he is, heart and soul. When you have a coach that will come out and say that about an individual player,
We had that Kleinheinz last year. He described Bo Meyer as the heart and soul of the team, and we saw what his senior season looked like, right?
100%. I mean, when you have a team like this, where last year they were a Tanner Herman field goal away as time expired from claiming a share of the Trailways Conference title, you're that close. Ben Paul is going to be one of those seniors, and there's a few on that team that felt that pain, that have been so close year in and year out of their varsity career. They want to change the story, and that starts with that senior leadership on this team. He's going to be returning first conference or first all team on offense and defense in the Trailways. So they're going to look to him, and you're going to figure out however Ben Paul does, there's a good chance that team follows.
Well, there's one thing to know about Randolph. They love to run the football. And that doesn't exactly change when Ben Paul just, steps forward a little bit more towards the football. I'm expecting some designed runs and everything too, but to hear that he's been voted team captain by his friends, essentially, right? His brothers who have been building this bond the last couple of years, 3 years in a row. It shows everybody's willing to go in the same direction, and that is the direction that Ben Paul is leading them. That is your prep football segment. When we return live from the Potawatomi Casino Hotel here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, it is time for Friends of the Program. This is the Damn Sports Show on 1430 ESPN and Daily Dodge TV. We welcome you back to the Damn Sports Show for, of course, a shorter last segment here on 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam, Daily Dodge TV, and new customizable ESPN Wisconsin app. We are live with you from the Potawatomi Casino Hotel for the ESPN Wisconsin Fantasy Football Draft, which will get going in about an hour and 5 minutes. Wally and I will be two of the 12 representatives for Team Damn Sports Show. We're getting a random drawing out of I think it was a pint glass we heard about downstairs.
I'm picking first.
So you've been so worried about the draft order. We don't even know it yet. We're going to have to find out right away. You can't read that article that says, hey, if you have the fourth pick, here's the best thing to do round by round. Can't do that.
Nope. I got to figure it out on the fly, and I don't do well. I need to be that guy that's prepared. If I'm not, we're going to figure it out.
Well, this is Friends of the Program. We are going to listen to various bites of audio from around ESPN Radio and Karma Brands. Wally, you can take it away from here.
Well, let's start with Mark Tauscher on Jason, or what? I said on Jason Wilde. That's incorrect. It's on Wilde and Tausch.
Taking him out of the name.
I know. I just took him
on
away
the
for
Jason
a second.
Wilde show.
We'll have to have a conversation here in about 10 minutes about that. But Tausch was talking about the Brewers and what it's going to look like when the lights are brighter in the postseason. It's different when you get the lights are bright. We've seen it time and time again. Brewers can play as well as they want for 162. It is an even playing field when you get to the postseason.
They are the 1 seed. They'll get the bye as long as they're the 1 or 2 seed, and there's a 7-game separation between them and the Dodgers, who they swept in 6 games this year. So I'm feeling pretty good about them, at least not having to worry about the wild card.
Huge shout out Aiden Boyd again for taking care of this. We're going to jump out of order here, Aiden. We're going to hear from Barry Alvarez on the Barry Alvarez Show talking about the Badgers' difficult schedule. Barry ain't scared of the schedule. No scare. Not a little bit. Corey, how you feeling?
Yeah, it's an opportunity pretty much every single week, starting in week 3, to shock the world. And they're due for a marquee win or 2 or 3 or 4. We've said it before. I think 7 to 8 wins is more realistic than people want to lead on.
I agree. 7 is easy. Give me 8 this year. I'm still marrying myself to 8. 8 and 4. Come on, Badgers.
This has been the Damn Sports Show. We will catch you tomorrow on 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam.